If you've ever tasted peanut butter and chocolate together, you know why one student described the amazing aroma of peanuts as addictive. I actually had a client who loved peanuts so much she consumed a jar of peanut butter every evening. That's not healthy to do, and I'm not suggesting it. But peanuts are very rich in proteins, fats, and fibers, and so they're a very satisfying comfort food and used that way in the United States. They're used around the world actually, and have become more and more popular across the world as a for their nutrition as well as for their taste. So many people find peanuts taste good, but are they good for you? That is the question that we're going to talk about and address today. And as you know, Ayurveda is never just going to have a one size fits all answer to this. But in the case of peanuts, there's some really important qualities that I want to talk about and help people become aware of today. And uh, and that's exciting. It's exciting to be able to do that. So peanuts are a common severe allergen in the United States, and that can lead to peanuts getting banned, and has led to peanuts getting banned from school lunches. Um, Kids in your classroom might be allergic to peanuts, right? Um, so why are peanuts such a common allergen? Is there um, is there something about peanuts that Ayurveda um, would understand or use or appreciate that would make them more likely to be an allergen? And that is that's the key insight I want to give you today. Is what is it about peanuts that makes them likely to be an allergen? Not just that they happen to be an allergen, but that they're likely to be an allergen. And what are some other effects that peanuts have on the body besides that tendency to be an allergen? All right. So, oh, by the way, the information from today's presentation is taken from a study at the Joyful Belly Food Lab in 2020. In that study, 35 students from our Mastering Ayurveda Digestion Nutrition certification course participated in a 3-day study where they ate peanuts and reported on the effects. These students were students that had been instructed and trained in this skill in our program, and they are out there using this skill right now for other foods, and learning about the pharmacological and herbal effects of foods and herbs and other substances using those skills. So if you like what you see today, then and what you learned today, and you think that's something that you might want to do on a more professional level, or even just out of strong personal interest, consider enrolling and becoming a student in that program. My name is John Immel, and I'm the director of the Joyful Belly School of Ayurveda. And also, I'll be staying on the call after the presentation is over. If you have any questions about Ayurveda, or about the courses, or about peanuts. All right, let's get back to our discussion. So right away, peanuts. There's something very interesting about peanuts that I want to tell you about, and is that they're not actually a nut. They're not a tree nut. They're very different from walnuts and almonds, hazelnuts, and other things that we talk about as nuts. In fact, peanuts are a legume. They're a bean. They're similar in taste and nutritional profile to a tree nut, but they're actually a bean. They're more closely related to string beans than walnuts. They are more closely related to soy. I see somebody in the chat room. Oh, you can't get any sound. Sorry, Teresa, that you can't get the sound. See if you can. We'll see if you can figure that out. I see one student's having trouble with that. All right. So they're more closely related to soy and string beans. But even as a legume, peanuts are unusual. Where most bean pods grow above ground, peanut pods form under the ground. Take a look here. If you were to walk by your average bean plant, you'll see the pods are on the aerial parts of the plant, often on a vine, right, growing on this trellis. But here we see that the bean pods in this plant's case are forming under the ground and have to be dug up. To me, that's very interesting. And that's why other cultures call them ground nuts or even earth nuts. In Great Britain, some people call them monkey nut, according to Wikipedia. I've never heard that term before, but it was interesting. Jimmy Carter, president of the United States in the late 70s, was famous for loving peanuts and investing in the peanut industry. Peanuts is the name of a popular animation series featuring Charlie Brown. The botanical name for peanuts is Arachis hypogaea, or hypogaea, or how you pronounce that, the Latin on that last part, I'm not sure. They originated in South America. They were domesticated as a hybrid between two wild species over 7,600 years ago, and probably much earlier, because the oldest archaeological remains of peanuts are found in 7,600 years ago, far from where peanuts were originally cultivated. So that suggests it may even be 1,000 years older than that, or who knows? I don't know, maybe a few hundred years only. In any case, peanuts are now grown worldwide in tropical and subtropical locations, including the southern USA, where I live. Peanuts are most frequently eaten as peanut butter, this sort of creamy substance that results when you blend peanuts. And it's a very smooth and creamy result that many people like. I like it. Actually, I can't eat peanuts, but I do like the taste of that. One of my favorite dishes or recipes with peanuts is called nature's fudge, which is dates. And you take the pit out of the date, and then you stuff the date with peanut butter. It's a really good quick snack when you've missed lunch. And but you shouldn't miss lunch, right? In Ayurveda, we try to stick to a regular routine. How about the old American classic peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Not always a great food combination, right? Fruits and beans don't usually mix as a food combination, and this could make things a little gassy for you, as the peanuts take a really long time to digest, and the fruits digest very quickly, so they might ferment while your body is processing the peanuts. So a bit of a difficult digestive situation there, but kids love it. How about ants on a log? Another famous all-American classic with peanut butter. Here we see the the peanut butter stuffed onto the celery stalk, and then raisins put on top, and that the raisins are the ants on a log, right? A fun way to eat peanut butter, but also a bad food combination. The fruits and the peanuts together don't really combine well and could lead to gassiness and bloating. However, if you have strong digestion, your digestion may be able to accommodate some of these fruits and peanuts together, as in the date stuffed with peanut butter, or the sandwich, or the ants on a log. So just some fun ideas there. All right, sometimes peanuts are roasted and salted and just eaten as is. Sometimes they're roasted with spices and honey and called beer nuts. Sometimes they're served raw. Sometimes they're boiled. Here in Appalachia, I live in Asheville, the mountains of western North Carolina. And in Asheville, around these parts, you can drive on the old country roads, and people will sell boiled peanuts out of a little hut or a little stand. And that's a common thing in the southern Appalachians. So peanuts can also be soaked overnight, and if you boil them or soak them, you'll get a much creamier texture out of them. If you are consuming the peanuts whole, consider removing the red skin around the peanut, because they have tannins in them, and that gives it a bitter astringent taste that doesn't taste very good. And also, that's irritating. And so you want to get rid of that. How about Thai peanut sauce? Here peanuts are being paired with coconut milk, and what a great flavor. One of my favorite tastes is the Thai peanut sauce. Here, this is a satay. You see the um, barbecued meats in the background, and then they'll be dipped in this peanut sauce. This is a thin peanut sauce. A Thai peanut sauce can be much thicker than this, and even include some crunchy bits of peanuts in it. But this photo is also an example of a peanut sauce. All right, in South Indian dishes, you'll see peanuts and cilantro being tossed as a garnish on top of the dish. You get that fresh herb and the nice satisfying creaminess of the peanut on top of the dish. Some good texture variety there. Peanut oil is sometimes used to roast or fry a whole turkey. And there's actually turkey fryers you could buy, and people do that on Thanksgiving. Has a real tender tender result. Oh, good. Somebody is on the call who grew up in England and is confirming that they are called monkey nuts there, and that's great. And maybe that is an interesting term for peanuts that I've never heard, and maybe I'll start using it. All right. I want to just say something before I move on from the cooking section and into the more medicinal section, that for those people with peanut allergies, many other nuts and seeds can be blended to form nut butters. Here I'm thinking of almond butter, sesame seeds, right? What is blended sesame seeds? And if you turn sesame seeds into a butter, what do you get? You get tahini. Coconut flakes can be made into coconut butter, and that is one of my favorite recipes is coconut butter with honey. A teaspoon of honey and a tablespoon of coconut butter mixed together is just a really nice tonic. I put a little bit of pinch of ginger, pinch of cardamom, and even turmeric with it. And a delicious, very healthy tonic. Has not much to do with peanut butter, but I couldn't resist sharing it with you. And sunflower seed butter. All right. One person on the call is asking in the chat if we should use peanut oil for day-to-day cooking. Not my favorite oil. I can't say that I know a lot about the properties of peanut oil and its stability for use in cooking, whether it has a low smoke point or not. Those are good questions that we should consider when using peanut oil. I generally don't use it. My favorite oil is coconut oil because it has such a high smoke point, or even avocado oil. Avocado oil is a little bit more neutral than coconut oil, and it has a very high smoke point, so good for use as a cooking oil. All right, let's talk about some of the biocharacteristics, the Ayurvedic biocharacteristics of peanuts. Ayurveda uses biocharacteristics as the basis of its medicine. This is the foundation for how Ayurvedic practitioners analyze foods and categorize them and figure out whether they're healthy for someone. So let's go into the biocharacteristics of peanuts, and that will tell us its health characteristics. First thing I want to mention is that peanuts are oily and sticky. We all know that. Peanut butter is smooth and creamy. That's why we love it. And that indicates the presence of oil. Some people find this oily quality satisfying. Some students found it a little sickening. In fact, I saw more negative reports from our students than positive. And I don't think that would be the case for other oils. So I think there's something else going on with the peanut butter that made them feel just a little off. But one student described that my mouth feels rather oily, like a greasy pot. I can feel the grease in my throat and it's nauseating. So, I want to look at that and why students had a negative reaction to that. I don't think they would have that same negative reaction to other oils. I do want to mention that though peanuts are high in fat and calories, several studies say that they don't cause weight gain and may actually reduce obesity. And why would that be the case? That a high calorie food can reduce obesity? More research is needed on that, by the way. But I do think Ayurveda has a perspective on why that peanuts. Why is it that peanuts may help with weight loss? And the reason is because it's so satisfying, and also because it's a little difficult to digest. It sits in your stomach for a longer time and maintains satisfaction longer. If you drink a can of soda, you're gonna still feel hungry even after you get to the bottom of the can. And so then you're just going to keep drinking or eating more calories. But when you have peanut butter, all your calorie needs are met, and you feel very satisfied for a long time. And so the conjecture here is that peanuts reduce obesity because they help you feel full longer and reduce the consumption of additional food. Peanuts are high in protein, which can increase calorie burning, and the high fiber is linked to weight loss. Peanuts have high fiber, and it's probably for the same reason. High fiber gives a longer sense of satisfaction. In general, at Joyful Belly, we recommend beans for weight loss, and it appears that peanuts are not an exception to that. And again, I would say that more research is needed to show the effect of peanuts on weight gain. I have had clients that have gained weight on peanuts because they just ate so much of them. So we have to be reasonable here as well. All right, good. Let's go to the next biocharacteristics. Sweet. Peanuts are sweet, dense, dull, heavy, stable, and gross. And gross doesn't mean disgusting. The gross quality in Ayurveda means that it is more physical, right? Like coffee is, and the caffeine in coffee is more have an effect on your nervous system, and so that would be a little more subtle. But here, peanuts are a little more physical. So I'm just going to change this word here to being physical. When I say that peanuts are sweet, I don't mean sugary. Sweet taste in Ayurveda means that something is a nutritive, not that something is actually sugary. So a little nuance there. Maybe we can even change the wording around here to say that peanuts are dense, dull, and heavy, right? If we want to make this just a little easier on everyone to appreciate or get an intuitive sense of it. They're dense, dull, heavy. And this heaviness of peanuts is what makes it satisfying, but also very difficult to digest. One student wrote that they were like bricks in my upper abdomen. Another said they sat in my stomach for a good while. Another student said I was burping after I ate them, which is a sign that your digestive system is struggling with it. Not just one burp at the end of a meal, that's normal. But if you're burping up again and again, a half an hour after eating a food, you're probably having some trouble digesting it. And in that case, add a little cardamom or a little ginger. Actually, I think ginger and peanut taste really good together. Consider adding ginger to your to your peanut butter when you eat it. It's a really great combination. A little bit of jaggery, a little bit of ginger, or jaggery is it's kind of like brown sugar. A little bit of something sweet, a little bit of ginger, and a little bit of peanut butter together will be a great flavor combo. All right, so this heaviness depressed energy levels and dulled the senses for our students. Look at this graph here from the study. What we can see is that 3 people had much less energy, 8 people had slightly less energy. For others, the energy wasn't affected at all. But when you look on the other side here, you see that very few people had more energy. These may be people who were hungry and needed the peanuts to give them the nourishment to have energy, right? So it's not just a one size fits all for everyone. If you're really hungry, peanuts will give you energy. But if you're not that hungry or you're overeating them, they're going to depress your energy just because they're so heavy. One student said, my senses are less vivid and my thinking is less sharp, and my body is more sluggish after eating peanuts. Now, a surprising thing we'll find out a little bit later is that peanuts increase tension and anxiety. So even while they make you sluggish, they can make you more tense and anxious, and I'll talk about why later. All right, dryness. Peanuts are drying, and not because they're a diuretic. Some foods like celery make you pee more, and that dries you out. But peanuts are drying simply because they are just so dense. Even in chewing them, you need a lot of saliva to kind of make a sauce out of them. In your stomach, your body turns everything into chyme, and that word is spelled chyme, chyme, and that chyme is is very much a liquid. And hold on, I'm trying to type it in the chat box here. That chyme is very much a liquid, and so you need enough water to turn those dense, pasty peanuts into a liquid, and so you'll feel thirsty after eating them. That pastiness will make you feel parched. One student said that she felt the peanuts were sucking the water out of my body. Another said my lips felt so dry, even despite the oiliness of them. Another said my mouth got very dry chewing the peanut. Now, peanuts have some astringency to them also, especially those red skins around the peanut has some tannins in them. So there's a mild astringency to peanuts that will increase that effect, that drying sensation. And I'll put that in the mild astringency increases drying sensation. Okay. All right. Those tannins on the skins, by the way, are a little bit sharp as well. We'll talk more about that. And great. Peanuts are warming. Take a look at this graph on how peanuts affected temperature. 16 students said they were slightly warmer after eating peanuts, and one student said they were much warmer. And this compared to only 2 students that said they were slightly cooler. So we see that peanuts made students feel warmer. They have a warming effect on the body. One student said, the peanuts felt warm when I held them in my mouth. And that's an experiment you can do. Put a few peanuts in your mouth, chew them, but hold the result in your mouth for 30 seconds and see if you notice your mouth feeling more warm. Some experience this warmth in a mild way, others more intensely. One student said, peanuts are heavy and sharp. They bother my stomach. Another said, I experience stomach and intestinal inflammation and burning sensations after eating them. That to me sounds like there's something else going on here. So yeah, saltiness. One student's asking, one person on the call is asking about salted versus unsalted peanuts, and salted peanuts will feel warmer and hotter, and unsalted peanuts will feel a little bit less warm. But peanuts in general are warm either way. So in both cases, you'll be warmer, but one you'll be salted is even warmer because of the salt. All right, let's put some things together here. Because peanuts are warm and oily, they're going to send heat upwards in the body, it's particularly to the head and shoulder area, and your body's going to express more oil in your skin as a result in those areas. And together with some of the irritating qualities of peanuts that we'll find out about later, you can see why peanuts increase acne for some people, because that heat with that oiliness mixing together is a pitta-kapha combination that results in acne. So one student said they increased my facial oils. Students sweated more after eating peanuts. Students reported a redder tongue after eating peanuts. And a red tongue is an indication of heat. So several different results are corroborating that peanuts are warming. So why are peanuts a common food allergen? Peanuts are a common allergen. They can make contact with them, can make a person's lips swell up, their tongue swell up, even their throat swell up. They could go into anaphylactic shock, and it could kill them. So if you notice tingling, itching, or swelling of your lips, tongue, or throat after eating peanuts, or when you touch peanuts, you might be allergic. So be careful. And in that case, it might be a good idea just to avoid peanuts altogether. If you break out in hives or get burning sensations or anything like that, then you probably don't want to. You want to look into the reason. Burning sensations could be an ulcer in your gut, but it also could be an allergen. So just think about that and check it out. I will mention that raw peanuts provoke less of an allergic response in sensitive individuals than roasted peanuts, according to some scientific studies. All right, so raw peanuts may be a little bit better. All right, let's see what's going on. Why are peanuts an allergen? Well, one, peanuts tend to have aflatoxins in them. Now, aflatoxin is a mold that grows on peanuts when they are not dried out and stored properly. If there's too much humidity after harvesting and the peanuts are stored in a humid environment, then they can develop a mold, and that mold is actually a really intense poison. It affects the liver. In fact, in countries in Africa where peanut consumption is really high, they also have high liver cancer rates. So some experts suggest that the maximum dose of peanuts should be about 2 tablespoons a day. I'll also mention that peanuts are the one area where I tend not to buy organic. And it's because the big brand names like Jiffy peanut butter, tend to have less aflatoxin in them. And I think that outweighs the benefit of organic peanuts. So, of course, if you have an organic peanut butter that's lower in aflatoxin, then I would choose that. But just generally, the big brands have lower aflatoxin in them. One caller is saying that she's read that jungle peanuts are more organic and safer and healthier. Is that true? And that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't researched the difference between jungle peanuts and other kinds of peanuts. Interesting question. All right. Here's what I'm going to mention. One of the reasons why I can't tolerate peanuts is not because I'm allergic to them, but because my liver is very sensitive. I have thalassemia minor, a Mediterranean blood condition. It's kind of like sickle cell, and I have a minor version of it. It's not life-threatening, anything like that, but it makes my liver a little more sensitive. And also, a professional, somewhat famous mushroom hunter fed me a poisonous mushroom about 10 years ago that really hurt my liver. It didn't kill me. It wasn't lethal, but it hurt my liver. And so that left me with a very sensitive liver. So if I eat peanuts, I get black patches on my skin. And so I don't eat peanuts. I don't want black patches on my skin. Even though I love the taste, I never eat them. And I can eat maybe a teaspoon of them occasionally, but if I had a teaspoon 2 days in a row, I would start to get those dark patches on my skin. And I won't feel good at all. So I stay away from them. All right, so that aflatoxin, first of all, irritates the liver. The heaviness of peanuts leads to ama. Now, ama is a technical term in Ayurveda that means toxins, but I don't want you to confuse ama with like poisonous chemicals, right? Aflatoxin is a poisonous toxin, but ama. When I say the word ama, I'm typically referring to a buildup in the body, and it could even be just of substances produced by your body. And this ama is toxic to your body, but it's not like a chemical from a factory. It's a little different. Anyways, um, this ama, the sign of this ama is a thicker coating on the tongue. And the students reported a thick coating on the tongue. The coating was was white and yellow generally, indicating the sign of pitta and kapha. But take a look here. 17 students said that they had a larger coating, and 5 had a much larger coating. And very few people said they had a less coating after taking the peanuts. So, oh, I'm seeing one person on the call has their video on. Let's turn off that video, and that way, the people who are calling in from overseas will get better sound quality. Okay, there we go. I think I did that. Let me just do a quick check on our callers here. Oh, I see another person with their video on. Let me stop that. And there we go. I think I got everybody's video. Okay, good. Good. So, so you students reported a heavier coating on the tongue, and that's a sign of ama. The saliva appeared more foamy, and that indicates a thickening of fluids. The difficulty of digesting the peanuts also leads to ama. In particular, students reported more gas and bloating with peanuts. Look at this. 14 students said slightly more gas and bloating, and 5 had much more gas and bloating. Now, anytime you have gas and bloating, you have to ask yourself, where is this gas coming from and what's forming it? Well, I'll tell you, what forms gas is bacteria fermenting and digesting your food. So that bacteria in your gut is eating the food and getting the nutrients instead of you, and they produce waste products. Just like people pee and poop, bacteria also release toxins. They kind of dump toxins in their environment after eating it, and so those bacterial endotoxins are smelly. And if you have so much gas that your gas is smelly, or you have foul smelling stools, then that's a sign of many toxins in your stool. Look at this. How did peanut affect your stool smell? 14 people said that their stools were slightly smellier, and 2 said much smellier after eating the peanuts. So we know that peanuts have aflatoxin in them, and that they are increasing the coating on the tongue, a sign of ama. They are increasing gas and bloating, which is bacterial toxins. And we also know that peanuts are warming, and even that those red skins are a little irritating. Those red skins on the peanut are a little bit irritating. This is the complex that leads to peanuts provoking allergies, right? Peanuts are eaten frequently. They're difficult to digest, so they're eating in the gut, sitting in the gut a long time. They're heating, so they provoke pitta, and they provoke your immune system. They aggravate the liver, so they increase your reactivity generally in your body, and they lead to ama formation, and ama formation provokes your immune system to attack it. Altogether, that's going to make it more likely to be an allergen than other foods. And you'll notice a lot of the foods that are allergens are pitta aggravating and pitta provoking. And so that's how Ayurveda might predict that a food like peanuts would be an allergen. And I'll say that even though peanuts are a great source of nutrition, and they can even help some specific individuals. Generally, Ayurveda says that peanuts are abhishyandi. Abhishyandi meaning that they are a little bit poisonous for all three doshas. They aggravate kapha because of their heaviness and oiliness. They aggravate pitta because of their effects on the liver, the toxic formation, and the sharpness of those red skins on the surface of the peanut. And they also aggravate vata because they're difficult to digest, causing gas and bloating. Therefore, they aggravate all three body types. And that, again, is why Ayurveda calls them abhishyandi, meaning a poison, and specifically a poison that clogs the channels. So we, as an Ayurveda practitioner, in general, I would say to my clients not to eat too much peanut butter. A little bit is okay. A good nutritional supplement. I'm not going to tell you to cut it out. To cut out peanuts altogether. I think that peanuts can be healthy in a small quantity for many people. That 2 tablespoons a day, but just be careful you don't go overboard with it. All right. How do you fix a peanut allergy if you have one? And I'm going to say that fixing an allergy is hard. It's pretty difficult. And we do offer some strategies and tips for how to do that in an entire module that we have on food allergies in the Mastering Ayurveda Digestion and Nutrition course. Um, we do offer strategies for reducing peanut allergies and other food allergies as well. It's going to involve uh, uh, soothing the liver and reducing pitta and many other techniques to help your body cope with food allergens. I have successfully reduced my allergens to a number of different substances, in particular cats. I was much more allergic to cats before I studied Ayurveda and much less now. So I see in the chat box that there are some suggestions being offered here to soak the peanuts overnight, and the skin will come off easily. Also, tannins are destroyed by cooking, so if you boil them quickly, you can probably slip those skins off easily, and also the boiling will break down the tannins. Tomorrow's asking about peanut butter. Is non-organic peanut butter worse? I'm going to say that generally the big peanut butter producers have less aflatoxin in them because they have the means to monitor aflatoxin levels and reject whole batches, whereas the small producers don't. So something like Jiffy, even though it's not organic, generally has less aflatoxin in it. But check up on that. Another caller is asking, did subjects eat the exact same amount, the same brand at the same time? No, we did not get that specific. And some of the reasons for that are simply because different doshas will need different doses to produce effects. Vata people tend to be very sensitive, and they might have a strong reaction with a teaspoon of peanut butter, and your kapha people might need a quarter cup of peanut butter to experience the biocharacteristics of peanut butter. So dose does change depending on body type, and so this idea of a same dose for everyone doesn't quite fit the Ayurveda paradigm, but it's an important question because for a scientific study we need to have as many variables staying the same as possible. So, and you're also suggesting, I see, that we compare different groups, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Now, I'm going to be making these statistics available on the website for peanuts and 95 other foods, and I will provide the ability to collate that by dosha. So I will provide that to you. It's going to take maybe another month or so before I get that out, and that way you'll have access to that level of specificity from our data set. All right, great. So, so peanuts don't only provoke allergies, but even in people that don't have an allergy to peanuts, that liver aggravation is going to increase irritability, anxiety, and tension in the client. Take a look here. 9 students reported more tension and 2 much more, compared to only 3 students who had less tension. So this liver aggravating quality is causing an increase in tension in the student's body. Their anxiety is also going up. You can see it in this chart. Their tongues were trembling more. One of the ways that we measure the effects of things on a nervous system is by looking at the tongue and seeing if the tongue is trembling more. That shows less control over the nervous system, meaning that something is stimulating the nervous system and making it go a little haywire. So I pay attention to whether my tongue is trembling when I examine my tongue, and I try to eat foods that reduce that trembling, so that way my nervous system is stable and I can apply reason to my decision making process in a more stable way. Sandra's asking, how long after eating did these symptoms happen? And I did not query for that, but typically, Sandra, I would say 15 minutes. Most of the students were instructed to report the results about 15 minutes after eating. Some things have to be reported right away. Like, for example, if the students are reporting taste, they're not going to wait 15 minutes. So for those things, they'll report what they experience as they're eating. All right. Now, these aggravating effects of peanuts increase the number of cracks on the tongue. That there were more cracks and that they were larger and deeper cracks. So as a Vata person, I try to avoid foods that increase cracks because it's showing degeneration of tissue. Look at here. 9 students had slightly more cracks and 2 had much larger, longer, and more number cracks. So that is compared to 5 who had slightly fewer cracks. So double the number of students had more cracks as less cracks. All right, so who should eat peanuts? Resilient individuals with low pitta and who aren't very reactive generally can use peanuts as a satisfying way to nourish their body and hold their appetite longer. But they should also be careful that they don't they should be cautious that they don't aggravate kapha. So it's also, as I said, it's contraindicated for all 3 doshas with low pitta and low kapha, I'm going to say here. Who should particularly avoid peanuts? People who are generally sensitive and reactive. So if you're the type of person who gets irritable and angry easily, if you're the type of person who can only drink like a few sips of alcohol and you start to feel a buzz, if you are a person who has trouble walking down the detergent aisle, then you are potentially a reactive individual. If you're one of those individuals, I would recommend that you do not eat peanuts. I would recommend that for everyone, even if you do eat peanuts, not to eat large quantities every day, so it doesn't burden your liver. And also to not eat peanuts if they give you gas. If you're getting gas and bloating from peanuts or from any food, switch your food. Gas means that you're making your body toxic because it means bacteria are fermenting and releasing toxins in your gut. I'll mention also that peanuts contain some anti-nutrients. So if you have poor absorption and weak digestion, peanuts may not be your thing. Of course, it's a case-by-case basis, right? Nothing is a poison for everybody in Ayurveda, but we have to look at the individual and see. So I want to thank you, everyone, for your interest in peanuts, your interest in your body, your interest in health, your interest in Ayurveda, your interest in Joyful Belly, and your willingness to come on a call and get excited about healing your communities and learn from me. I'm really excited to teach. I love teaching. Teaching is a calling for me. That's why I run a school, and And it's very exciting to be able to offer this information and even to put together more advanced statistical analysis for those individuals who even want to go deeper. I'm going to make that available on the website, and so have a wonderful rest of your evening, everybody. And next month we'll be doing another analysis from the Joyful Belly Food Labs. So look forward to that. And I'll stay on the line for any questions that you might have now. And I'm going to stop the recording as I do that.